As the midterms close in just days away, Latinos are leaving the Democratic Party in droves and voting for the GOP. Can you hear that? It's all the crying and gnashing of teeth. I'm Jasper Gonzo, and this is What's Next. Hey, what's up, everyone? Jasper Gonzo, another What's Next. Hope you guys are doing well. This is, of course, the weekend edition. As the midterms close in, we are just days away. We have seen certain groups pull away, jump off the Democratic plantation, and are actually thinking for themselves. One group, Latinos. And we're not just talking about Mexicans. We're talking about Dominican Republicans. We're talking about Cubans. We're talking about Puerto Ricans. As a Puerto Rican himself, I find it refreshing. I find it refreshing that Latinos are waking up and saying, you know what? I'm not going to vote Democrat just because it's always been that way. So it's good to see. This comes out of Breitbart. Hispanics across Arizona, Florida, Texas abandon Democrats. The party doesn't care about us. They never did. Hispanic Americans gravitating to the national populist wing of the Republican Party are turning on Democrats over the top issues of this year's midterms elections: crime, inflation, immigration, and a corporate-backed woke social agenda. Tim Alberta of The Atlantic traveled across Arizona, Florida, and Texas to find out why Hispanics who have been voting for Democrats for decades have turned on them, who jumped off the plantation as it moves towards an economic and social agenda embraced by white, college-educated Americans. Here we go. The move, as The Atlantic details, is coalescing working and middle-class Hispanics into the fold of white, non-college educated Americans to shape the GOP base. In 2016, former President Donald Trump won about 62% of white working-class voters, more than any other Republican dating back to 1980. Still, as of 2016, there were 44% million white working-class voters who were not registered to vote. Interesting. Turning out just 10% or more of those non-registered white working-class voters, coupled with a growing number of Hispanic Americans moving towards Republicans, could amount into a red wall or wave that would be devastating for Democrats nationwide, which it will be. In Arizona, longtime Hispanic Democrats said, quote, "The party doesn't care about us." As political scientist Roy Texera confirmed, it was the college-educated white voters who won the election for dementia, not the Hispanic support. We're talking Karens in the cul-de-sac. Carlos Odio, a Democratic activist in Miami, Florida, said Democrats are suffering immensely with Hispanics because of their class disconnect with upper middle class and wealthy values like pronoun preferences, trans ideology, utopian vision for open borders, are prioritizing over economic needs of the working and lower middle class communities. Yes, it's all about identity politics, your economics. Another Miami Democrat, Maria Elena Lopez, told The Atlantic that she calls the Democratic Party a charity offering welfare, free housing, and more public benefits to Hispanics. The only problem, she said, is that these people don't want charity. We don't want it. They're not here because the sea levels are rising, because of social justice, or anything else, Lopez says. We're not out here talking about racism or the Green New Deal, which is trash, and defunding the police. We're freaking them out. Specifically, Lopez noted Democrats' insistence on inventing gender-neutral language that appeases the sensibilities of white college-educated base voters, i.e. Karens, even though just 2% of Hispanic Americans use the word Latinx, which is absolute garbage of a term that has not stopped Democrats from adopting the language, which many now consider a slur. I don't consider it a slur. I just consider it fucking stupid. In Texas, Hispanic Americans are being driven away from Democrats due to mass illegal immigration flooding in the communities and the party's support for dementia's administration handling of 5.5 million arrivals at the southern border, a 1.35 million release into the United States. That is a record in this country's history. Where's the respect for our laws? One Hispanic mother planning to vote Republican in this year's midterms asked, where is the respect for the people already here? I'm an immigrant. I'm also American. We are allowing our country to be overrun. Exactly. Invaded. Democrat Bruno Lozano, the former mayor of Del Rio, Texas, told The Atlantic he's considering quitting the Democratic Party altogether after he repeatedly warned officials about record-setting illegal immigration that was wreaking havoc daily in his small community. Those warnings, he said, fell on deaf ears as Democrats and their base of white college-educated voters, i.e. Karens again, and soy boys, romanticizing the idea of open borders and helping the world's poor at the expense of working and middle-class Americans. That's a picture in Del Rio, Texas. It is easy for them to romanticize the whole situation. They're struggling. They need help. They're coming here for a better life, Lozano said. It's harder for them to come look at the bodies of people who died in 107-degree weather heat, kids who drowned, Border Patrol agents who they are so opposed to, trying to help pregnant mothers. None of this fits the narrative. One such Hispanic Democrat said the shift towards Republican nationalist populist message and agenda has showing up in party registration data, whereas Hispanic voters overwhelmingly registered Democrats prior to the election cycles. More than 50% of young Hispanic voters are registering as independents, i.e. conservatives, in Arizona. One Democrat official said, "I don't blame them." Like I said in the beginning, it's refreshing to see them finally waking up, not being woke, waking up to the fact that they have been used and abused by the Democratic Party for decades, just as African Americans have been abused by the same party. The Democrats don't give two f***s about Latinos, don't give two f***s about blacks. They don't give two f***s about anybody. It's about agenda driven. That's all it is now. They don't care about helping you. They don't care about giving you a hand up, versus a hand out. They would rather do that all day long. 5.5 million illegals in a little over 2 years under this Socialist Party. And that's what they are now. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They are a socialist party run by a bunch of morons, including the king moron himself, a dementia-riddled old man. So the midterms are going to be interesting. We're just days away. Will Hispanics come out in droves, as I expect them to be, and vote Republican, and we are going to see a red wave? Speaking of red waves, you got one guy in Texas right now, Beta O'Rourke. Yes, Beta douche himself, is running around slamming Abbott here, there, and everywhere, thinking that he actually has a shot at beating Abbott, who's going for a third term, when you have Hispanics in Texas voting Republican. That's going to be very interesting because you're going to hear a lot of crying come Wednesday morning. I'm Jazz Berganzo. This is What's Next. Want to see more just like this? Please leave a message below. Comment, like it, share it, subscribe to it, and we'll catch you guys next time. Peace.